What's up, Hills family? Welcome to Student Gathering. This is Dolly. She's super excited for Student Gathering, obviously. Normally, we would just jump right into it, but I've got some things to get done today. So you guys are gonna come along. We're gonna run to the store. We're gonna make cinnamon rolls. Guys, I'm just sitting here watching my dog. She's getting cuter each day. An important question, are you cat people or dog people? Tell us in the comments. Are you guys ready to go? I've got crazy eyes. Are you guys ready to go? You guys remember a few weeks ago, Alexandra was talking to us about our plants, like speaking kindly to ourselves. My plants inside are doing really well. Plant outside is doing less well, so I'm open to suggestions. What do you have to say about Student Gathering? Hey!
Hey everyone, I'm Natalie's boyfriend JT, and I'm going along some of the adventures today.
Note to self, we realized there was literally no way of not making that awkward, so awkward. Okay, so as I'm leaving and trying to walk out to the car, guys, my neighbor has a peacock. And so hopefully as I'm walking out, you'll be able to hear the peacock like live and in action. Ladies, get you a man that opens the door for you. So interestingly enough, JT also has to make videos for work, and I was in one of his videos, right, JT?
She sure was. She was a star.
I was the star. Him in my video is a little bit different. And last but not least, when is my birthday?
It's in December, I know that much.
Let me know in the comments, have you been to Burger Box?
Bluebell Ice Cream Parlor.
Yeah, we're going there for sure. Okay, so if ever you're in the car and you need something to do, you can play a game called Mind Meld. We're gonna try that again. Play a game called Mind Meld, and you count to 3 and you both say a word, and then when you don't say the same word, you do it again until you get to the same word. One, two, three, banana.
Hamburger.
1, 2, 3, ice
fruit.
cream.
Strawberry. Orange. Orange Julius.
So something you need to know about me right now, if you're gonna spend today with me, is that I go to Sonic a lot.
What do you want to drink?
Diet Coke.
What's the thing that I get with the strawberry water and like the...
Strawberry water?
Strawberry water with strawberries,
Yeah.
or strawberry water?
Either way.
Okay.
So good.
Refreshing.
We just got to Target and we're putting our masks on because we're responsible members of society. In case you're wondering how to wear a mask, you wear it like this. You don't wear it like that. Nope, still not good enough. Not good enough, exactly. Want to get ridiculous looks? Try filming a video in Target while you're walking around. Do I care? No. But still, people are really giving me some judgmental looks. Okay, so I know I came for groceries, but I can't help walking through the rest of Target. It's a pop socket, but with chapstick. Incredible. So turns out Target is out of sugar. Not great.
But I bet Natalie's personality is sweet enough for the recipe.
So I'm leaving Target with 3 things I needed, 4 things I didn't need, and still have like 6 things to buy. Pretty successful trip. I think the guys back there are also making a video, so they looked at me in a weird way. Hey guys, are you making a video?
Yeah.
I'm making a video too, so I'm making a video of you making a video, and it's like video inception. I just drove to Fort Worth to get my hair cut, and people are driving on the highways like they are crazy people. They don't have moms. I think people have been at home for so long, I don't remember like how to drive like normal people. Here, and Skylar's gonna do my hair today. Best part of any haircut. I look like an alien. It's fine. Oh my goodness. Okay, friends, my hair is done. One more stop to make. Of course, we're not going to Six Flags. Six Flags is closed. The Alamo, not impressive in person, much smaller. I've been to the White House and it always looks so much smaller in person. AT&T, even bigger in person. Honestly, there's not like a really specific reason to be here right now, but I was trying to think of like the weirdest place that you could go and be alone. Normally when you're here, you're amongst 90,000 people, but sometimes even in the middle of 90,000 people, you can still feel alone. Guys, JT and I are having a disagreement about who can run the length of the field the fastest.
100% me.
I don't think so, but alas, I'm wearing Chacos. It's not the day for it.
I'm agile, I'm quick, I stretch on the regular.
JT, how do I have access to being here right now?
The assistant manager of tour and private event operations. That's why I wear Hawaiian shirts on Friday.
In case y'all didn't know, Darren is a really great dog trainer and Dolly needs a lot of training.
One thing you need to know about dog training is there's no such thing as smart dogs and dumb dogs. There's only smart dog trainers and dumb dog trainers. Let's see which one you are.
Bang, bang. Stay.
Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. I don't know if any of you have developed any new habits over quarantine, but I've always liked baking, but it's like become an extra problem. So let's bake some cinnamon rolls. If anyone has ever told you wearing an apron is dumb, they're wrong. Ow, also my dog is just biting my ankles like crazy. At a few points in this recipe, you have to take a little bit of time and wait, or it just won't turn out the same way. Then we mix it and mix it. If you think I don't eat the leftover raw dough, you're wrong. Ooh, look how pretty they are. Yummy, yummy. Okay friends, so now we wait and we let them rise. We'll come back to them in just a little bit. There's 2 times in my life when I remember feeling the most alone that I had ever felt before. When I was interning in Tanzania in college, and then the other time was when I was a youth minister right after college. In both of those situations, I was surrounded by people. In Tanzania, I lived with a missionary family. I had other interns. I was constantly out doing work with other people. And then as a youth minister, I had lots of friends at church. I was constantly plugged in, doing activities, always staying busy. And for some reason, I still felt alone. I remember asking God in both of those scenarios, like, God, why do I feel this way? I'm doing what you want me to do. Why do I feel so alone? Why do I feel like I don't have anyone surrounding me, even though I'm surrounded by people? I specifically remember saying to God, God, this isn't fair. Both of those scenarios, I wasn't in a wilderness by myself, and I wasn't in a lion's den or up on a mountain by myself. In fact, I was surrounded by people. I just felt alone. I felt isolated. I knew I was doing what God wanted me to do. I still felt that I was alone. I remember thinking, God, there are so many other things I could be doing right now. I followed this call that God had put on my life to go and do ministry. And I just thought, man, I could be at home with my friends. I could be doing a job that made more money. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. So many things that would make me feel more included, that would put me back amongst my friends, that would do all of these things. And yet I was choosing the path that God wanted for me, and I still felt this way. I just kept saying over and over again, God, this isn't fair. Maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you're doing all of the right things. You're going to church, you're hanging out with the right kinds of people, you're doing what your parents ask you to, you're living a God-honoring life, and yet something still feels wrong. You still feel alone, and it doesn't seem fair. There was a man in the Bible named Joseph who lived a whole life of unfair aloneness. Joseph found himself time after time alone in situations, isolated from his family and everything he knew because of nothing Joseph had done. I can't help but think that Joseph was asking God the same questions that I was asking. God, this isn't fair. Why do I constantly feel like I am so isolated and alone from everything? Now, the story of Joseph goes from Genesis 37 through chapter 50. So I'm going to summarize it a little for us. Joseph was his father's favorite son. So you think that sounds pretty awesome, but it wasn't. Because of Joseph's father's favoritism for him, Joseph's brothers hated him. He felt alone at his home amongst his family, probably for his whole life. Then when Joseph was 17, he had a prophetic dream from God. Joseph told his brothers about it and they were not happy. Joseph's brothers were so angry that they banded against Joseph. They threw him into a well and he found himself very much alone. Joseph's brothers sold their own brother to these merchants who took Joseph to Egypt. When Joseph arrived in Egypt, he was sold to Potiphar. Now, things started to look up for Joseph when he was at Potiphar's house until Joseph caught the eye of Potiphar's wife. Joseph was a handsome young man and Potiphar's wife thought he was a handsome young man, so she tried to make a move. He did the God-honoring thing of turning down Potiphar's wife. And Potiphar's wife was so upset that she lied to her husband husband, said that Joseph attacked her and Potiphar threw Joseph into prison. While Joseph was sitting alone in prison, he interpreted the dreams of some court officials, which later led him to interpreting the dreams of Pharaoh. The Pharaoh's dreams foretold that Egypt was going to go through 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. Since Pharaoh was so impressed with Joseph and the plan that Joseph had come up with to deal with the famine, Joseph got put in charge of the whole food supply for the country of Egypt. Once the famine years had began, Joseph's dad sent his brothers to Egypt to buy food for their family. Joseph recognized them immediately, but put them through the ringer by sending them back and forth to Canaan a few times before he admitted who he was. In the end, Joseph was reunited with his brothers, but not until 22 years had passed since they had sold him to those merchants. Tough breaks for Joseph, right? He found himself for over 22 years in situations where he would have felt isolated and alone. Sometimes I think we can't see what God is doing because he isn't done doing it yet. We praise God for answered prayers, and we should, but those answers have only come in the time frame that we have been able to witness. Think about Joseph. He was waiting for over 20 years in a foreign land away from his family. Most of the people watching this live stream tonight haven't even been alive for 20 years. But Joseph was never really alone, was he? Throughout Joseph's entire story, there's time after time after time that God's presence is evident in Joseph's life. Joseph's brothers had planned on killing Joseph before the merchants came along. While in Potiphar's house, the Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered. In prison, the Lord was with Joseph and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. God gave Joseph the ability to interpret dreams, which eventually led to the position in the Pharaoh's court. These moments of God's provision for Joseph were woven through the many years that Joseph was alone. You are never alone, even in the waiting. Maybe you're living a God-honoring life, doing all of the right things, but you still feel so alone. You're praying for God to change your circumstances. You're praying for you to feel differently about all of this, and yet you still feel this way, and it feels unfair. Friends, God isn't done yet. Proverbs 23:18 says, "There is surely a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off." God is preparing you for what he has prepared for you. And even in the waiting, important things can happen. Do you think when Joseph went to prison, he thought, man, the Lord works all things together for my good? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing yet again, Joseph thought, man, God, this is not fair. But think about it. If Joseph hadn't ended up in prison, he never would have interpreted the cupbearer's dreams and the baker's dreams. And by interpreting those dreams, he ended up interpreting Pharaoh's dreams, which led him to helping Egypt store up food for the famine. Joseph is able to acknowledge that God's plans were so much bigger than Joseph could have ever imagined. He looks at his brothers, the ones that bullied him, the ones that made him feel alone, the ones who literally sold him into slavery. And in Genesis chapter 50, he says to them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people." Without his brother's hatred, without being thrown into the well, without being at Potiphar's house, which led to being alone in prison, which led to Pharaoh's courts, all of those things, countless lives would have been lost. Okay, so back to the cinnamon rolls. Guys, I told you I come here a lot. Oh my goodness. Remember, we left the cinnamon rolls to wait, right? We could have baked them right then. We could have rolled them out, put them in the pans, and stuck them in the oven, and they probably would have been good. But something important happens in the wait. The cinnamon rolls rise while they're waiting. And I think that's what we do too, right? We have to wait sometimes, and that waiting is hard. And God doesn't leave us to wait by ourselves. You are not going to be alone forever. In fact, you are not alone right now. You may be waiting to feel like you aren't alone, but remember, good, important things happen in the wait. And our God never leaves us, and he never forsakes us. Friends, it's been a long day. Good night. Good morning, friends. Just sitting out here on my back porch. I told you guys that something good happens in the waiting, and it does. I'm not trying to say that life is like a cinnamon roll, but I'm not trying to say that. Right now, you might not know what it is. Right now, you might be smack dab in the middle of it. Joseph would have had no idea what was coming and what was waiting for him on the other side of him being alone. Even in the waiting, you are not alone. And good things can happen in the waiting. And you might not know what those good things are yet, but you will. They're coming. I promise you, because our God is faithful. My dog is just gnawing on a bone in the middle of me trying to like bring a word. A lot of the times that I felt alone before have been preparing me for where I am and who I am now.
I have a man bun. I hope you love it. All right, next Monday we start something brand new for the summer. It's called Levels. Look at all these books I'm getting ready to carry in my car. I'm trying to get smarter for you because we want you to go deeper this summer in discipleship. It doesn't just mean getting smarter. It means that you are constantly moving in your faith. You're not still. You're not stagnant. You're not going to be the same follower of Jesus that you were last summer. We know that church looks very different right now. Literally, our church building looks very different right now. If you don't believe me, I'll show you. Are you ready for this? What? This is crazy. Our church flooded. It's getting all the moisture out and all the dry air back inside. So God made me to be an optimist. So some people see this empty church, all this stuff going on around here, and they think, man, everything is just a wreck right now. I love a new challenge. I hope you love some of the new challenges that have come. I think it's an exciting time for your faith. And that's what we want this summer to be. We want it to be a challenge that you're able to rise to every single week. And so we're gonna help you do that. And we wanna use levels to get you along the path, to keep moving you forward. Don't settle for the status quo. Don't be who you were last summer. Don't stay stagnant in your faith. Let's go deeper. Who wants to swim in the kiddie pool for the 8th summer in a row, right? So let's go to the deep end. Let's stay with it every day for 5 days every week and see what God can do if we'll let him keep us growing. I wonder what would happen if I pushed that button. Probably something terrible, so I won't push the button. All right, I gotta get back to work. I got a lot to do to get ready for the summer. Levels starts Monday. Can't wait.
It's going to new levels, my faith is going to new